You know, considering it took me a week to watch this, you can call this little journey Nick versus time management. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're talking about the newest Netflix release, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie were, if you already saw it, or if you were planning on seeing it. And make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my channel out there. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, older films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's jump right into it and let's talk about The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This focuses on a quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip which is upended when they find themselves in the middle of the robot apocalypse and suddenly become humanity's unlikeliest last hope. This is written and directed by Mike Randa in his feature debut, who also voices the son Aaron Mitchell here, and it's produced by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the duo behind the Lego Movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and 21 Jump Street. This is also the second project for Sony Animation that was just produced by them, after the surprise hit of 2018, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, a movie that I loved. And I gotta say, I'm impressed how these two managed to find a way to inject their personal style into films they don't even direct, as this feels exactly in the same vein as their own films. It's very similar in its quick-paced, witty sense of humor as the Lego Movie, and also feels very similar to Into the Spider-Verse, as the two films' animation styles are very close, employing this groundbreaking mix of 2D and 3D animation. Now, when this was set to be released in theaters, it was initially supposed to be called Connected, and I know this has been expressed a number of times already, but I'm also in the camp that's glad they changed the name once they sold it to Netflix, and it was apparently the title Randa wanted to begin with. Because a title like The Mitchells vs. the Machines better captures the wacky, zany, very energetic feel of the film as a whole. This feels basically like National Lampoon's Vacation meets The Terminator meets the Lego Movie, and it is absolutely bonkers. The film's mainly told through the point of view of the daughter Katie, voiced by Abby Jacobson, who is an aspiring filmmaker, and the journey the family takes is driving her to film school. Jacobson's a very charismatic protagonist, but what makes seeing this through the eyes of an aspiring filmmaker so much fun is getting a representation of all of her thoughts played out for us, with these very colorful images popping out, done in the style of hand-drawn sketches, where we see things like rainbows appearing or a hand-drawn Katie screaming. And we get these very frequently, as Katie's mind is constantly racing and she's thinking of all these cool ideas while on this adventure, and it makes for a lot of fun, quick throwaway gags, while also finding a creative way for her to express herself, which allows us as the audience to get to know her better. And we get a lot of these little throwaway gags where characters will scream, yell, overreact, lose their mind, and admittedly, not every single moment lands since we get a ton of them, and simply put, just not everything's going to stick, on top of the fact that it's clear some were meant for kids, but most of them do land well and are hilarious, and sometimes they come so frequently that your mind's still playing catch up as it hits you so fast that you almost don't realize what you just heard was a joke. A lot of these throwaway moments would also be expressed through technology-based humor. We'd see little shorts Katie filmed with her dog Monchi, voiced by an actual dog, social media star Doug the Pug, and we get little scenes where we get what's supposed to be a heartfelt moment or an intense moment, and it's interrupted by characters changing filters on a phone or imagining it through a filter. And they'd be brilliant ways at cutting some of the tension during the apocalypse-centered sequences. You also have an all-star cast that includes Danny McBride and Maya Rudolph as Katie's parents, Fred Armisen and Beck Bennett as two damaged robots that help the Mitchells, Olivia Colman as a virtual assistant app that's behind the takeover named PAL, and Eric Andre as the CEO who created PAL and is held hostage by her after the takeover begins. And everyone here does a great job, and it's clear they all had a lot of fun with the material. The film was especially at its funniest whenever it utilized Armisen and Bennett, whose banter was always a treat, and whenever they focused on the dog, who reminded me a lot of a mix between Doug the Golden Retriever from Up and Hey Hey the Rooster from Moana, and he easily had the film's best running gag where the robots would get confused by his appearance, unable to figure out if he's actually a dog or not. Though while this film contains a lot of jokes, to say the least, it's also a heartfelt movie, as at the center of this is the conflict between Katie and her father Rick, who's afraid of technology and isn't 100% supportive of her goals, but he tries to change that. And the moments where the two butt heads and then try coming together added a sweeter element to the film. And there's a message in there about the importance of family that I know younger audiences will certainly appreciate. Now, the only thing I'd say regarding that storyline is Despite being nice due to the voice work of Jacobson and McBride, you can kind of see where they're going with this from like a mile away. There are dramatic beats where, say, one of the characters says something in confidence to another character, and you know it's going to come back to bite them in the ass later on. You also have things that are set up early in the movie that come off very clearly like they're going to play a part later on. And I'm not going to lie, it definitely felt predictable in that regard. And while I like this message of family thrown in there, I would have just appreciated if it didn't feel so by the numbers in that regard, especially for just how creative everything else is. I get maybe wanting to give off this sense that this is meant to be a normal family in the midst of all this wild, complicated robot destruction going on. I just think, while it was fine for the most part, there could have been some better ways around it. I only had one other small complaint with the movie, and that's the stuff surrounding Eric Andre as the CEO Mark and Olivia Colman as Pal. Part of the conflict stems from Pal feeling abandoned as Mark literally throws her into the trash as he upgrades the new technology. And that's what causes her to start this whole takeover to begin with. And even though the conflict stems from this tension between them, it just seemed like they didn't know what to do with Mark after those first few sequences we see him. I mean, I know he's not part of the family and it's more about them than him, but he gets relegated to the background after his first few scenes outside of one other crucial moment. But it's not like you see things circle back around where things come to a head between them one more time in the finale. The only thing they really do is give us these very quick throwaway lines about tech monopolies having too much control. And I know they're meant to be jokes with just a tad bit of social commentary, but maybe they could have explored that just a little more in relation to all this as a way of tying these stories together a little more cohesively. Like, I know that's something kids might not fully get, and this is a movie that's meant to have a lot of appeal to younger audiences, but I'd say it would have really given the film a little extra layer of meaning if it went for something like that, especially since it would have fleshed out that secondary conflict a little better. That being said, it's still a very fun movie and incredibly creative, flying by at 109 minutes. I don't think it's quite on the same level as Into the Spider-Verse or the first Lego movie, but don't get me wrong, it's still something that I really enjoyed. More than anything, The Mitchells vs. the Machines is one of the year's most creative films so far. Its fast-paced story is brought to life with some stunning, groundbreaking animation, and supported with a ton of hilarious visual gags and witty lines thrown at us in nearly every scene. And mixed in there is a nice, heartfelt, if a bit predictable message about the meaning of family that all audiences will certainly enjoy. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on Netflix, and I highly recommend giving it a watch. The Mitchells vs. the Machines gets an 8.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see The Mitchells vs. the Machines, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like this more than Spider-Verse? Do you have a favorite film from Sony Animation? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.